Hey guys, Raphael here, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Did you say podcast? Dudes, dudettes, you're listening to the podcast on the Geekcast Radio Network.
You've just jumped inside the pull bag. Join TFG1 Mike and the rest of the comic crew here at the GCRN as they make their great escape into comics. From DC, Marvel, and Image to IDW, Boom Studios, and Zenescope, we have everything right here. We cover things like Transformers, He-Man, superheroes, TMNT, and Radiant Black. Yeah, we have all that and so much more. It's all inside the pull bag here on the Geekcast Radio Network. So, without further ado, it's time to talk about the comics we're reading right now, here inside the pull bag.
Hi, this is Bobby Curnow, Chief Turtle Editor at IDW Publishing, and you are going to have a shell of a good time inside the pull bag.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. This is episode 424. That's right, folks, 424 episodes. I am, of course, TFG1 Mike. Joining me, as always, for TMNT stuff from IDW is Mr. Joe Reed. Hello, sir.
Hello, hello.
Yes, and it is time we go to hell. Well, I'm sure I've already got a front row seat for hell, but we are going to talk about TMNT IDW Shredder in Hell, the 5-issue miniseries. As we've always said in the last 8 years, or however many years, 7, 8 years that we've been doing this, we love most of the time when IDW does the miniseries. I love the fact that they do these miniseries to give the character, whether we like them or not. Like, there are certain I'm sorry, but Casey and April wasn't the greatest of miniseries.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Mutanimal ones was good. The Macro and the Micro series, those were good. You know, that kind of stuff. So I love that IDW gives the miniseries out to the other TMNT characters, and Shredder in Hell, it does and it doesn't pick up right after issue 99, but that's where these events fall, is between 99 and 100.
Mm-hmm.
Written and art done by Mateus Santaluco. Yay!
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. You know it. Because, yeah. Story and art by Mateus, color assist by Marcelo. Hey, Marcelo Costa! Awesome! So Marcelo Costa is the current artist on an Image Comics series that I read called Radiant Black.
Oh.
You might actually like Radiant Black. It's basically about this guy who is wants to be a writer in Hollywood, and he's failing, and he's like $300 and something thousand in debt, or $48,000 in debt or something. So what does he do? He moves back home to Lockport, Illinois. And he somehow gets superpowers. So I have the backups. I have the PDFs for that series, and I'll send those to you, so you can check that out if you want. But yeah, awesome, Marcelo Costa. I didn't realize he was on this, but color assist by him and Davi Kalai. Lettering and design done by Sean Lee. I gotta get Sean Lee on an interview at some point. I love that guy's stuff. Series assistant editor Megan Brown. Series editor Bobby Curnow. Woohoo, Bobby! Collection editors Justin Eisinger and Alonzo Simon. So Shredder in Hell, folks. Holy crap.
So I was gossiping at my local comic store, and there is, with the pandemic kind of like winding down and coming back to things getting back to normal, the difficulty of the past year has just thrown heck at the comic industry and the distributors. Diamond is getting gutted by Marvel and DC kind of starting their own thing, and then here's IDW, which has really struggled with distribution and deadlines, and a lot of their ongoing series have, I don't want to say they've been getting canceled or they've been ending, but Ninja Turtles, I think, and based on the gossip, it sounds like Ninja Turtles is the series that has kept the doors open at IDW, and if it weren't for that series, they might be in trouble as a company.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Ninja Turtles has brought and continued to bring throughout the pandemic are many delightful miniseries like you were talking about with all these side characters that come on. And whenever they do that, they have an opportunity to sell more books. And whenever they have an opportunity to throw Santaluco at a book, it's like guaranteed sales because the guy's art is incredible. And I remember, I think it was issue 4, he did a variant cover, and that was his first job for IDW. And then here we go, a couple of years later, he gets his own book to tell his story. And I have to imagine, looking at the art in this series, that Shredder is his favorite character to draw.
Maybe, I would assume so, but this is also the first time that we have gotten writing from Santaluco, and it is an amazing story. It is a very existential story. It is one of those stories where you don't, you take the expect the unexpected thing and just throw it right out the window, because this thing went in places I didn't think it would.
Yeah, I think it's unexpected because this does not feel anything like a Ninja Turtles story.
Right.
They're in it. It's with Ninja Turtles characters, and it's with characters that we've come to know very well from the IDW series. But it is definitely very different.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for what they've done to the Shredder. Like they do for all of these weird bonkers side characters. They've given this very rich, multi-layered depth to, that one level villain that we had in the animated series, James Avery, bless his heart. What he brought to that character. That was the one-dimensional villain of the 80s, the Skeletor, the
Shredder,
Gargamel.
Yep.
But now we get this very real character in here going through something and kind of stepping into his own. But it's a great. Anyway.
Well, and that's the thing though. Like we've said from the beginning, back in 20. Holy shit. Wow. Oh. So we've been doing this series since January of 2014. The series has been running for a damn decade. 2011 is when this started. The whole IDW TMNT thing, it was 2011.
Yep.
When it started. Holy
It's as old as my son.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
If this comic were a child, it would be old enough to have his own opinion.
Yes, it would. Oh, believe me, there are plenty of comics that have their own opinions, whether they are old enough to do so or not. But it's one of those things where, you look at the original 80s toy, or you look at Shredder's design in the 87 cartoon. It's designed to be cartoony. It's also designed to be villainous, because there were plenty of times, even though he was a bumbling dolt, there were plenty of sinister times in the 87 cartoon where James Avery brought that voice and into that character and into that villain that is the Shredder. But over the last decade, IDW has taken this character of Oroku Saki and, like you just said, added so much rich depth to him. And just in this, once we start getting into it, just in this series alone, the psychological shit that the character goes through and has been through. So we start off with, Father, hear me, I summon thee. Shredder is dead. Kitsune is trying to revive him. I know that's not blood in the knife, it's ink or something, or might be blood, who knows, but that looks really, really creepy.
Magic juice. It's Kitsune's magic juice.
Oh, that's right. It still looks creepy. Yeah. It looks like
it's rainbow colored.
Yeah, it's like red and green and yellow with the silver knife. It's like, ugh. She is trying to, as I said, resurrect the Shredder, and throughout this entire 5-issue series, she is going to be painting scrolls of what is going to happen. And we see, now when was this? Was this right before he died?
No, this was the flashback scenes.
Yeah.
This was the issue where he died, and I really want to go back to those issues and see if these speech balloons were what they were saying in that issue, or if this was Santaluco filling in the blanks between the panels so that it could tie together with what happens in the series.
Yeah. Was that was issue 50?
I can't remember when he died. I had a text message typed out to you because as I was reading this, I'm like, wait, did the Shredder even die yet? Or does that happen at issue 100? Because the last 100 issues have been a complete blur. It goes so fast. But then I realized, oh no, that happened a long time ago. We're at City at War. This is okay.
Yeah. So So I love this flashback, and I love the whole "know you're better" and him trying to destroy them, and we get into the story here of that he's choosing the dream, and we see them as children, him and Hamato Yoshi in the forest, and how the fun the forest is, and it's him looking on to the past. So we see him there with the two boys, and he's like, is this the dream? Yoshi, I made it to the dream. And, oh, did you, Oroku Saki? And there's this strange voice, and it's this inner voice of him and the original you, and that was freaky.
Yeah, good old Takeshi Tetsuo, the original founder of the Foot Clan.
Yep.
Back from Secret History of the Foot Clan, way back there. Yep. Santaluco worked on that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I think so.
He's got a thing. Like IDW said, you go handle that half of everything. And this is where it gets fascinating to me. The Foot Clan is not just a silly red foot logo ninja clan happening in modern day New York City. This has got a history, and there was a guy who started the Foot Clan as the ninja assassins that they were, and that's the. Then Shredder isn't just the Shredder. Shredder is a part of this guy who is reincarnated as the Oroku Saki back then, and it's just layered, and you mentioned it when you were reading that panel back there. You said, Yoshi, I made it to the dream, where that kind of excitement of this peaceful place that he comes to in his full Shredder armor, but that speech comes out of him, and that's not the angry Shredder. That's somebody who's excited to be in a peaceful place. That's not the Shredder looking for vengeance to kill.
Right.
This is a different character. This is a splintered off, fragment of Oroku Saki. And then, yes, that other piece of him that is fragmented off in this place is Takeshi Tetsuo, who is a psychopath.
Yes, he is. And yes, it was issue 50 that Shredder died, because issue 50 was when Donnie was reborn as Metal Donnie, I believe, because in issue 44 is when they killed Donatello. So in issue 50, Donnie returns and Shredder dies. I remember that now. Of course, I did a little bit of Googling just to be sure. On the safe side. You can never be too sure, folks. You always want to make sure you Google your facts. And wow. So we have Oroku Saki and Takeshi having a conversation, and this is what I meant earlier at the beginning of the podcast episode, folks, when I said it's an existential journey for Saki to figure out who he is and what powers control him, or whether or not he has control over his own destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is all of these hints have been getting laid. I mean, all the way even back into the April and Casey comic, and I think before that when the Pantheon got brought out. Kitsune's been around for a while, but
why
is Kitsune messing around with the Shredder? What's up? Well, he is the dragon warrior. He has this spirit in him, and she's kind of been fostering that, but that is separate from Oroku Saki. It's neat. It's neat as he battles Wills and with Takeshi in the dream.
Yep. Yeah, it is so interesting. Just to clarify, so you don't have to do it, even though I'm sure you want to do it, that's fine. I am in issue 50 right now. Come then, sons of Hamato Yoshi, know you're better. The lines and the battle did happen. However, the way it happens in issue 50 obviously is a different art style, and it is a completely different scene of how the battle plays out and how the layouts are done. But in this, in Shredder in Hell, for the flashback, they basically give you the one confrontational scene, not frontal, one confrontational scene and those lines. But yes, those lines were said in issue 50.
They knew. They knew where they were going.
Of course they knew where they were going. I swear, Bobby has this shit planned out until issue 200 or more. I guarantee you. I don't know if he does or not, but I'm saying, like, and Shredder in Hell, folks, came out a couple of years ago. So this isn't like this is new, because they're up to, I think, issue 120. I want to say 120, 121, something like that. We maybe have some solicitations for the future at the end of this podcast, folks. But anyway, getting back to Shredder in Hell, the struggle here and all of that. I love that, because it's not often you see. Normally you see Shredder. He is either the Utram version. He is either Oroku Saki, and he is already on the constant path of evil. And I'm not sitting here saying the IDW Shredder is ever going to be a good guy. But villains and heroes and in between, they all have their version of events and what they feel affected them. Like every story has a side to it. And seeing Saki's side here as he's fighting himself, and the fact that Splinter comes in and kind of saves him from drowning, I should say. This feels like he is still in the dream when Yoshi saves him here, and they're in the forest, and it's Yoshi's, Splinter, he's the rat, and Saki is Saki without his helmet on. So that does feel like it is potentially, most likely, him dreaming that it is, or hallucinating that it is Splinter. I don't know. As I read through this on my own, separately from what we're doing here in the podcast, folks, I felt like that was the real Hamato Yoshi, that he had come to Saki in hell through the astral plane, whatever. And we'll see that as this plays out.
Yeah, this did not make sense to me the first time that I read it. It felt weird, and it felt like it was jumping, and I couldn't tell what was real and what was not, and what was happening in the real world. And I wasn't sure initially that this was Splinter, and I caught a line this time through that I didn't before. Like, it feels like the real Splinter. This Splinter came here to this afterlife to help Oroku Saki back, his brother, in that Japanese brotherhood sort of ninja way. And but they mention a line where, like, Splinter's not dead yet, so what's he doing in the afterlife? And they make a mention about how it's not exactly linear here. This is happening else time, and out of place. So as far as we need this guy to be, it's the real Splinter. It certainly is.
They go to the Tree of Life.
Yeah, I'm gonna save this comment, but yes, it's a Tree of Life, and I kind of, when I looked at this, it looked it reminded me of the world tree from Thor and Norse stuff.
And it's very Norse looking.
Yep.
I love this exchange between them where Shredder is talking about the Dreamer and Splinter says, I'm sure Michelangelo would make a very astute analogy to his video games right now. So good. Splinter also says, listen, my friend, just like this is a tree. This tree, you are a vessel for a powerful force, an unmerciful god, and the Dreamer's counterpart. You had never known an existence without that spirit imprisoned inside your soul. In many ways, he is the cornerstone of who you think you are. And there's where lies the source of your conflict, your fears, and the reason why you are so eager for power and control.
Oh my gosh, and now I see it the third time through even more clearly as to what he's talking about. You know when that wise person in that movie talks and it sounds like a riddle and you're never sure what they're talking about and doesn't make any sense, but then like they never really make any sense? Well, the third time you read the comic book, that wise character that's talking in riddles, the riddles aren't riddles. It's this is completely what's happening.
Yep.
He doesn't really, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And
All right,
I love,
folks, you got to read your comics 3 times.
That's right. I love his response though to all of this. No control? But that goes against everything I fight for, everything I am. If you want to know who you truly are, you must first let go of who you think you are. Your words make no sense, rat.
It's because he hasn't read the comic 3 times.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right.
Oroku Saki. Just got to read it.
Read your own story, Saki. Once again, as always, the colors, the lines. Splinter here in I'm going to call it long distance shots, but far away shots and close-ups. We talk about this almost every podcast that we do for this series, that Splinter is a featured character. He does, and he doesn't look like a rat his entire time that he is talking to Saki here. He has never not looked more ratish, and that is I think Santaluco really, really got it. And the colors from him, from Marcelo Costa, this whole purple, pink, reddish thing in this scene with them, the blues and the hues. Oh, it is so good. And, he goes on to say that the choice is Saki's alone. He's only promised that he would show him the dream.
I know what the dream is, everybody.
And it always surprises me because I was not expecting it, and it didn't make me cry this time because it's not dealing with their children. But when Saki goes, I must find a way back to her. He loves her. He does. Tang Shen. Go, my love, help your friend. I was not, and I am so glad, and this is just me I'm just going to say this right now, folks, this is me being super creepy, okay? When she tells him to go and they embrace, he is still the rat, and I am so glad they are only hugging, because the next scene is their immortal souls kissing, and I'm glad they did not use the rat version of Yoshi to kiss Tang Shen.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my mind goes to dark places at times, and I just had to point that out, that in one scene she's hugging the rat version, and in the astral plane afterlife thing, she's full-on kissing the human version of Hamato Yoshi.
Whew.
Yeah. Last thing we need in TMNT comics is bestiality.
No, they dodged that pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what happens with Casey and Jenica. You never know. But so Splinter goes chasing after Saki, and he basically turns into a rat. He basically reverts to, his original form kind of thing. Not original form, but like it's basically reverse mutation. It's like the 87 series, I was most in contact with the human, or I was most in contact with the rats. You were most in contact with the humans and whatever. So now that Saki has a pet for the rest of the comic, we get to face Hell's Warriors, and Hell's Warriors are everyone that
the Shredder killed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The Savat here. This was good, because this is him basically fighting his own demons, even though he's already killed them. I love this. And this is still only the first issue. This isn't even, like, we haven't got to the end of this yet. And, yikes. Just love the shock face look on little Splinter. Oh, yeah, now that's the Shredder I know. Gnarly. And I'm like, wait, what? That's one way to get them in this book.
Yeah, now see, now I thought I had it figured out. These are the people that Shredder has... Oh, wait.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. So these are all the people that Shredder has killed, and he's fighting his demons. And I'm like, well, the Turtles are definitely still alive. But, this is a wishy-washy, timey-wimey tangle of things going on here. These Turtles... Shredder killed the Japanese kid turtles. The
human versions.
The human versions of them, and so maybe these are fragments of those souls that are here and left behind, but they're the Turtles. They're definitely the Turtles. So I was like, yeah, well, how'd they get here? So this totally is inside Shredder's head, but no, I got it.
Yeah. What would have?
I wrote my own headcanon. I figured it out.
There you go. What would have made this so much better? And I know you asked me a couple of podcasts ago, how did Nickelodeon let them get away with this kind of stuff or whatever? Mm-hmm. I don't think Nickelodeon would have let them get away with this, but if this was the kids, not but just the kids before he killed them, that would have made I was surprised when this happened. But afterwards, I was like, oh, I'm kind of rooting for the demons now, because Kappa, Turtles 3 is coming back to haunt us, folks. And that's how this first issue ends. The Sons of Hamato Yoshi?
Yeah, man, I would think the opportunity for them to be turtles and show up at the end of this issue, but then as they're fighting him, change themselves into the humans and saying, look, you killed us, you killed children, look at how young that one is, and you killed him. Yeah, dude, look at how young I am.
Yeah.
Because this is Saki now. This is he's not the same guy. That would tear him apart.
Yeah. Absolutely. We start with issue 2. So what's it going to be, Shredhead? Molten lava? Or the end of our blades? And I gotta hand it to them. Oh, okay, I do recognize the difference. Besides the fact of the weapons, it's awesome and interesting that they gave the demon turtles the bandanas, but the red eyes. At first, I was like, wait a minute. Are the bandanas all red? They're not, obviously, I know.
They're in a very red area, so they're all kind of tinted that color.
Yep. Yeah, but it is so cool. Yeah, just pick one already. And, we have a battle between the turtles and Saki, and Saki doesn't want to fight them. He's defending himself, but he doesn't want... He's not attacking them. They're attacking him.
He is not going to stab his Splinter's children while he's there looking.
Yeah, no, that would not be good. Death has slowed you down, Shreds. Yeah, who's met his better now, huh? And it's hard because it's hard to root for. This is Saki's book. This is his story. Whether they're demon manifestations or not, it's really hard to root against the Turtles and root for Shredder to win this because, hello, it's the Turtles. It goes against everything for the last 30 plus years that we've been taught. Shredder is evil. The Turtles are good. But he is, as we've said, fighting for his life here.
I had a thought, and I don't know if they, because I can't remember now what happens in issue 100, or did I remember what happened at the end of this book even, but we can now see that Oroku Saki, when he's taken out of Takeshi Tetsuo and being the Dragon Warrior, that he is his own person, and his own person does not want to conquer everything, does not want to hurt Hamato Yoshi or his children, and we've talked about it before in the podcast that this IDW series has brought home the theme of the Turtles being family, and are they making Oroku Saki part of the family? Can he come back from that? And are they going to create a worse villain for them to have to come together to fight? And that thought got me really excited as I was reading, particularly this spot here where he's fighting the Turtles and protecting Hamato Yoshi Rat in his arms.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're going to turn him into a good guy.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going with this because I have not read. I mean, obviously I've read this in preparation to the podcast, but I have not read issue 100, so I don't know what happens.
And I don't remember, so it's all new for me too. Because
as I've said, I want to have the freshest reactions on the show as possible, so I don't read I may have read this 4 days before we decided to go ahead and record it, kind of thing, but when this came out, I'm like, okay, I'll wait till it's collected, and that's what I did. And I've just been sitting on it ever since. So, but, we get to the Demon Gathering. Gather. And Saki's like, what the... And Master Masato shows up. Whew, they are really pulling some deep cuts here, folks. I love Master Masato's words. You may very well have conquered much, but you are still that frightened boy, desperate for recognition, a vain soul who thinks too much of itself, nothing but a puppet in the hands of Takeshi Tetsuo. Quiet, old man. Kills him. Dead. And he's
undead now.
Yeah, he's undead now. But he morphs into this weird being. And again, it shows the depths of hell that Saki is having to go through to figure out how to get his life back. And, we even have him versus his own father, and it's so much for one person to go through, and it's like I said earlier, this has got to be the most psychological part of the Shredder that we have ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, anybody can put a neutron into a Shredder body. Not anyone has the same voice as what James Avery had, but again, he was already a villain. He was a villain in Japan in the cartoon, and he just kept on becoming a villain. This comic and this overall series that Shredder has been in for IDW, his character so much... From the very first time we meet him back in issue whatever it was that he debuted in,
mm-hmm.
to now, his character has changed so much. And this is just that further evolution where he has to look at himself and figure out what path he really, really wants to take.
Mm-hmm. In a way, I see this as a chance for the real Oroku Saki to face all of the demons that he created on his way to where he first died here.
Yep, absolutely. So we get the battle with his father some more, and Splinter goes in and tries to save him, and he dissipates the demon and becomes a demon army. And they are fleeing with this demon power that he has, and don't let him escape. Yeah, they get you cornered, my friend. And this is where the demon kid shows up. Come on, you got this, damn it.
Yeah, this several times during this battle with the demons, Oroku Saki has unleashed this blue light energy. Right. We're not sure where he has this power from, I don't think, at this point, but he keeps letting it off and annihilating whatever's around him. Yeah. Which I think the demon kid kind of cheers out of him.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But he is at a point overwhelmed. And
yeah, I'm very.
Who are these warrior guys that are fighting him now? Where they come from?
Deluded into believing the dragon god can be destroyed. Yep.
They're not Savat. They're some kind of Japanese ninja people. And they get a hit in, boom, and they take off Oroku Saki's leg.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Dang. That. Yeah.
That's not going to grow back.
No, it really
maybe
is.
Here it will, but not in the...
Yeah. And he goes to chase after who he thinks is Kitsune. And... Drink this elixir, my lord, and your awareness will be but a memory. Another nightmare.
Oh, yeah, and that foot logo, I remember that from Foot Clan. The bloody footprint. As she gives him the elixir and the Lazarus pit looking thing that makes his foot grow back.
Yep. Well, hey, at least it did grow back. I mean, that's always a good thing. We have him and Splinter, and then we have him and his father. You've hidden everything from me. You tried to deny my destiny. To deny a god. So I was so certain I would defeat you, that I would rule forever. Takeshi Kitsune. Oh, so it's Takeshi and Kitsune who are the love affair things. Why are you doing this to me?
Well, that was where I think Kitsune knew that her father, the dragon spirit, was within this dude. She had been looking for him to try to bring him back to lead the Pantheon, like in those earlier issues. And yeah, they had a little love affair. I don't know, this feels more like an Oroku Saki hallucination to me that's giving him enlightenment to understand what's going on. But yeah, Kitsune's burying Oroku Saki to be with Takeshi Tetsuo.
Yeah. The Dragon Warrior. And that's where... Vessel of the Dragon God, and that's where this one ends. This story, man, it just takes you so many different places, and you're right. This is not for someone who, like, you can't just pick this up. This is not someone I would, like, someone who wants to read about Shredder, I would not recommend. Like, I love this book. I'm not saying I don't, but to someone who has never read any of the other IDW stuff to this point, you can't just pick this up and get it. I mean, maybe you can understand it, but...
if you know the Turtles and you know Shredder, like read The Secret Origin of the Foot Clan and then this, you might get something from it. Although there's the whole Dragon Warrior and the Pantheon angle that I don't think you get from those two books. But it's still interesting to see where the Shredder character came from and how he ended up the way he is because of these essentially three different spirits rolling around in his head.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very interesting, the fact that he has three different spirits rolling around in his head. That's, man, I can barely keep one spirit in my head, let alone three. I mean, come on. It just seems like a little much, don't you think? So we start with the next issue. It is the dragon, and is that that's Takeshi, isn't it?
Yep.
Or is that that's Takeshi?
Because Saki's buried in a hole. But I think I noticed this on the second read through. These are the roots of the tree from up above. Right. This is underground in a cavern below that tree where this dragon was slumbering and sleeping, that now that Takeshi Tetsuo has arrived is waking up. Yep, absolutely. And we get Saki with the Demon Kid. And he doesn't want the kid calling him Dragon Warrior anymore. My name is Oroku Saki, the Shredder. Fine by me. Tell me, Demon Child, how can we find a way back to the Dream Forest? Sorry, sir, that is out of my league. Of course it is. Once again, the art, the lines, everything about this is so well done. I think, I don't know, I don't want to diminish how hard this work is, but Mateus Santaluco seems to me the type of person who could do this art in his sleep and is very, very fast about it. It just feels that way. When he was pumping out those issues around 50, and that was the same time that a bunch of giant posters were coming out, and online he'd be posting pictures of commissions, or other people would be posting pictures of commissions that they bought from him. Like, does he sleep? Does he ever have to use an eraser? Every single line is beautiful. And then I remember I asked him a question in a post at one point, or I asked a question, and he happened to be the one who responded to it. Saying that, oh no, I color all my own work. I don't have anybody else doing it for me. So like he's penciling it, inking it, and coloring it, and with the assistance of this issue from the guy. I think there must have been a tighter deadline if he had help. Yeah, but still, probably. Yeah, still.
No, Santaluco's colors. Like when I was talking about the blues and the reds and the purples earlier between Saki's power and everything else, I never meant to say that, and I know you're not accusing me of saying this, but I never meant to say that Marcelo Costa Marcelo Costa and the other person did color assists. Yes, Mateus Santaluco does all of his own art, from the lines to the shading to the this to the that to the Mateus's colors are just amazing.
Yep. He did 2 different posters around issue 50. It was the giant cover, and then the poster that came out with the video game. Yep. The colors on both of those posters are incredible, and those are the 2 that I asked, like, who did your colors, man? Was it Rhonda? Because Rhonda's amazing. And like, no, I do all my cover colors and the poster colors. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. But no, if I'm sure Marcelo Costa is participating in the process in some way, and whatever he's doing is producing a beautiful result, and Santaluco's a genius, and I wonder what he'll do after Turtles, because whatever it is, I'll be reading it.
Yeah, I don't know, and I care. I'm not saying I don't care, but I don't know what he's doing after this, or what's going on with him currently, what he's working on, but whatever it is, it's going to be a whether it's writing, whether it's just the art, it's going to be a comic book masterpiece, because that's what the man does. Every time he has ever done a cover, it's always been one of the most covers that affect me the most, because the art is so good. And that's not to say any other artist that has done TMNT covers or any other covers in comics in general haven't affected me. It's just, with this series, folks, there is just something about certain artists that do a cover or something in a certain way that just affects you. Like when Donnie died in 44, like, holy shit, kind of thing. Or when Mikey in 51 basically is like, yeah, no, I'm out. I'm going to go do my own thing. You guys can fight amongst yourselves. That whole thing where Mikey was separated from the rest of them because he didn't want to deal with, like, Mikey's thing back then was, can we just be done with the fighting? And I think that's still part of Mikey's deal now, but it's just so good. Santaluco, everybody that's worked on this series, they deserve so much credit. And it's not that we're not giving it to them or anything like that, but so good. All right, where are we in this? So we got...
I have Coming from the Mouth of Such a Foolish Man, as Oroku Saki is headed back to the World Tree.
And we have the turtles and all of these demons, and he's basically trying to save himself and Splinter, because he's still holding on to the rat like he should. And we get this demon monster that he has to face, and I'm not sure what the deal... Like, again, I think it's him fighting his own demon. Like, this demon monster that he's this Cyclops, this cyborg... Not cyborg, but this whole plant-looking... I think this is him fighting himself. This is him... I think this whole series is Saki... It's his journey to figure out who he should be versus who he wants to be. Like, does he want to be just the villain who always gets the control and the power and the this, or does he want to be something more than that?
Yeah, or these are... It's either him, it's the parts of him that need him to not get to the World Tree to do whatever it is he thinks he's about to do.
Yeah, he gets there. Have you felt it in my soul? It jeopardizes the liberation of my spirit. Is awakening. Then it must be contained, but it shares our power. Will I be able to suppress it? As the mountain explodes, that echo does share my force indeed, but its refusal to join with me makes its link to my power too fragile. It will stand no chance now that you are becoming one with my spirit. Soon these echoes will cease to exist, and you shall know what it really means to be the Dragon Warrior. And the dragon is revealed, sort of. So, like I said, this is Takeshi, and this is his side of the fight against Saki, and Saki's like, damn you to hell!
That's where we are!
That's true. It was the fox's magic. It changed more than our body. And yeah.
Yeah, man, it's such a neat concept.
Yeah.
The splintered soul of these two characters that are the same character, and the one half that wants to bring back the dragon in an invincible human body needs the Oroku Saki fragment of the power, and he's not going to relinquish it to prevent that from coming back. Like, yeah, that's the good guy thing to do, Oroku Saki. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And we see that he needs the Demon Kid's help again because Splinter, the rat version of Splinter, got injured, and he's gone for now. I say for now because he'll come back later. And we have Takeshi, and are we done?
Demon buddies.
Yeah, with his demon bunnies. We are Takeshi Tatsu. Takeshi Tatsu is no more. Only the dragon remains. We need to wake up, and it's this all-out battle.
There's a lot of that in this book.
Yeah, which is good. I think it's interesting. Not only do they Santaluco mixes the words with the fighting, and it's a good balance, I feel.
Yep. And what I do appreciate more about Santaluco's style than others is that I can tell what's going on in the battles. His action lines, the perspective, the anatomy, all of it is very, very clear, and I can tell what's going on, and that's not always possible for me sometimes in fight scenes. It's very difficult to draw the force, the power, the directional energy, but no, it is certainly pulled off here, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And this issue closes with the conversation, what is so different about... I don't know how long has Oroku Saki lived next to her? A decade, 2? What's so different about him? Why has the fox hidden the whole truth from you? What was she so afraid of? And he says, maybe your heart was right about her, but whatever it is, it doesn't matter now. The Shredder will join the dragon, whether she likes it or not.
Well, considering I know what happens, this changes my understanding of this moment. It sounded to me here that like Takeshi was jealous of this love that he perceived Kitsune had for Oroku Saki. Because Saki's been fighting for his love of her, and it only took him 20 years for her to change and to want to bring him back, Oroku Saki back, and not foster the Takeshi Tetsuo fragment. But considering I know what happens at the end here, now I don't know what to think.
Just when you thought you knew everything, they flipped the script.
Yep. See, this is why you have to read them 3 times, folks.
That's right. And I don't know how they, as much as I love it, I don't know how they got some of these covers on comic book store shelves, because issue 4's main cover is a baby version of Saki with the dragon inside of him. It's an amazing cover, but holy crap. I would be interested to know from anyone who is listening to this that went into a comic book shop when this was being sold. If you looked at this and saw, and granted, I'm looking at this image, seeing just the cover. I'm not seeing TMNT, Shredder in Hell. I'm not seeing number 4. I'm not seeing any of the lettering that normally accompanies a comic book cover. I'm just seeing the cover by itself, and I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot.
Yeah, like, does that even look like a Ninja Turtle cover?
No, that's the thing. That's what I'm. That's you know. So we start with paintbrushes and Kitsune wanting to be the next Bob Ross.
Well, I know why she's crying now as she's painting.
Oh. Because Saki is the vessel. All hail the dragon god. dragging him along. Guard the gates. No one gets in, no one gets out. And we have something wrong. Something's going on here. We don't know exactly what, but the dragon says the cycle is almost complete now. Rise and fulfill your glorious destiny. Obey, you fool. He's not too good at obeying.
That's not something the Shredder does.
No. And I love how the dragon just wants his body as the vessel. Like, you don't need his mind, you don't need his soul, because he says, but the men you were are irrelevant, not needed. And we get to
Hamato Yoshi coming back.
Yep.
Yeah, the demons outside the castle, as they were having that conversation, were getting choked by this blue mist. And the last time I saw blue mist, I'm like, they're choking on Splinter. They're choking because that's the rat disappeared in the blue smoke. Yep. But he's back as Hamato Yoshi.
He's back. He's back, and he's better than ever. And yeah, man, what a way to go!
Good
choking on what a way to go! Choking on a rat. The vessel, stop him! Do not let him escape. Out of my way, demons. Again, the art in this, the action, like you were saying, the action poses and the action fluidity is so well done.
Yep.
It is just so well done. And I love how...
What this reminds me of, any of you listeners who have read, I'm not going to say it right, manga, Japanese comics, Blade of the Immortal is one that I have read a few issues of. I own one of the thick trade paperbacks. Santaluco's art reminds me of that a lot. And I don't think I realized it until just now, the similarity of that. That whole series was written and drawn by one artist, whose name I don't know, but very Santaluco-like, now that I see that. How cool.
Yes. I am the dragon. No, you're not. And the funny thing is, I saw where Takeshi says I am the dragon, and I see where Saki says no. I didn't even need to see I knew the next line was, no, you are not. You know, he talks about how we are just lucid dreams channeling the divine. Soon, Saki will become lucid too, and you will be gone forever. Yoshi? All right, brother. Time to wake you up. What happened? I thought you were gone. I was, but my mission with you was not completed, and this conspiracy is way too important for the dreamer to ignore.
Crazy.
That's good.
You just can't keep him down. I love it.
Yep. And we have the dragon saying the time is nigh, and my sister must not restore thee, and... Oh, that's right. The dragon's sister is Shen? Really?
No. Wait a minute. No,
that can't be right.
Nope.
Hold on. Now
she's just a spirit who's there, I think.
Okay.
She didn't go to Nirvana like she could have, like he told her.
Right. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Whew. It's always a love triangle with these three. Not necessarily in this stuff, but not necessarily in IDW, but because at least in this, Yoshi and Saki are brothers, and obviously Shen is always with Saki.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Saki and Shen, or not Saki, Saki, Yoshi, and Shen, so many lives I've destroyed, all for nothing. I think of this as an opportunity, Oroku Saki. Yes, it is a chance to save the world, and a chance to see our children once again. They just Gotta keep pulling those just gut punches. Just keep punching us in the gut to make, salty things come out of our eyes. And they kind of disappear into the astral plane, or so they disappear into the tree, or whatever happens to them, and the dragon is born.
I don't think that one's the dragon.
Oh no! Wait, is it? Well, so they disappear.
Yeah, they disappear and turn into the little embryos, and they go into the ground, which is where the tree roots are, and not the evil tree roots, but these good tree roots.
Yep.
But then maybe through the power of their spirit, what they are reincarnated as is this Hindu Buddhist. Oh my God, what's she called? The dragon's. This is the dragon's sister. And I recall, or this is referencing what I know as the Hindu religion, which is connected to the Buddhist and the reincarnation, and they make several allusions to several different religions. There's a snake. The dragon is the snake, the serpent. Yeah. That's the Christianity thing. They have the creator and destroyer and Brahma. What's her name? Because it's Shiva the destroyer, and then the blue one, whose name I can't remember right now. But when I got to this part where they're kind of connecting all the world's religions or rolling them around in each other like a delicious stew,
right?
This is what they did in the Archie series, in the Archie Ninja Turtles book, a funny book for kids in the 90s, had, I don't know, a 20-issue arc where they traveled the Middle East and looked at some of the Eastern religions, and they put a turtle twist on them and made them tied in mutants into the supernatural stuff, but you could learn about those world religions from that. And then here we are in this Shredder book, with an above God, and there's creators and destroyers, and the creator chooses to grow into a tree and experience the creation by fragmenting her soul and becoming humans. And like fragments of her soul are the human souls that are around the world.
Right.
And that's what they were talking about earlier with the dream. She's the dreamer. She's dreaming of the creation through the. And it's like, oh my gosh!
Yeah, mind blown. Yep.
and this is where the controversy, or not the controversy, the conflict comes from, is that to keep the destroyer from destroying things, she imprisoned him into one soul that is trapped in the reincarnation cycle, and that's what the Shredder is, and that's why he can't die, because if he does properly die, the dragon can come loose and come out and destroy everything. So cool.
So very cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Very, very cool. As this issue ends, we see him say, what does your heart tell you? She asks him, what does your heart tell you to do? I must hold my destiny in my own hands and renounce everything I thought was. The nightmare is over. And that's how issue 4 ends. Holy crap.
Yeah, he takes dominion over his own soul, takes the dragon spirit out, and breaks it. And then everything explodes.
Yup. So we're going to take a quick break, folks, and we're going to come back after this to talk about the final issue of Shredder in Hell, TMNT, Shredder in Hell, IDW Publishing. We'll be back after this.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The Geekcast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure the Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news,
play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film.
Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience the Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or GeekCastRadio.com.
What was that universal greeting again? Never mind, I remember. Ba weep grana, weep nitty bong.
Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal, and be sure to check out my YouTube channel. Join me as I have Transformers discussions, retrospectives, toy reviews, and more. You can also follow me on Twitter at Rodimus Primal, as well as Facebook and Instagram at Rodimus Primal Show. Transform and roll out, and be sure to check out my content till all are one.
Last big party of the summer, folks. Let's go out with a bang.
Discover a world of vintage and modern toys that's more than meets the eye with the Triple Takeover Toycast.
Hosted by toy writers and photographers Toybox Soapbox, 6O, and TF Square 1, this informal and chilled out series of discussions cover everything from vintage Transformers to Mask, Diaclone, Microman, and more, be it nostalgic or current.
Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual robot enthusiast, all are welcome.
Triple Takeover Toycast.
Hey gamers, TV's Mr. Neil here. The Gaming Hipster is my personal podcast in which I take you on a journey through my history of gaming, both new and old. Each month is a new topic show in which I bring you my console memories, give reviews of my favorite video games, and talk with cool guests.
People have made cartridges that will let you play Netflix on Nintendo.
I was making sure that I got everything. I was writing it all down.
They fixed that for the third fake prototype.
And that's the first time I remember seeing real animated boobs.
Find the podcast at geekcastradio.com or on Spotify. You can also hear a deluxe version of The Gaming Hipster at ravinghipster.com or patreon.com/Mr. Neil. For $2 a month, you can hear longer versions of the podcast with after-show segments and stuff too raw for the internet. You also get various topic shows, my commentary podcast, The Big Bad Movie Show, commercial-free Geekcast stuff, and more. All at patreon.com/Mr. Neil and ravinghipster.com.
Do you like retro cartoons? Then Saturday Morning Rewind is the podcast for you. Join them each month as they talk about classic cartoons and interview legendary voice actors like Jim Cummings.
I am the terror that flaps in the night.
Corey Burton.
Sometimes toys can be so flighty.
Rob Paulson.
Sure, Dwayne, but how are we going to find chaps our size?
Nancy Cartwright and many more.
Eat my shorts.
So grab a bowl of Lucky Charms.
They're magically delicious.
Put on your hammer pants. Go to SaturdayMorningRewind.com. And be prepared to feel like a kid again. Once again, that's SaturdayMorningRewind.com. Saturday Morning Rewind was voted best podcast ever by its host, Tim Nidell. So it's gotta be good.
Hey, it's Wes from Poppin' Off Toys. Wanted to let you know about PoppinOffToys.com. We can be your number one source for Funko collectible figures to add to your ever-growing collection. If you're in Nashville, Tennessee, we actually have a retail store that you can come by, 5916 Charlotte Pike. And for the rest of us, PoppinOffToys.com is always open, and you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even TikTok. And the name is just simply Poppin' Off Toys. Thank you so much, and always keep it poppin'.
On the Simplistic Reviews podcast, we talk movies. We talk TV. We talk.
Hello, Julie, what the heck are you doing?
Trying to make our spots sound more exciting by adding explosions.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could have got the point across with sound effects, not the real thing. Car.
Download the show on iTunes or at simplisticreviews.blogspot.com.
I'm sure your insurance company will cover that.
No, they won't.
No, they probably won't.
So yes, folks, this is issue 5, Shredder in Hell, here inside the pull bag. This is the second to last episode of our month-long Turtles journey that we have taken. And holy crap, issue 5. Wow. Okay, so this beginning part here, I had you read this through my screen share before we recorded, and I'm trying to think, what in the hell is this guy? This soldier.
This power armor soldier dude showed up at the beginning of this issue, and I don't know where he came from.
Yeah, and he ends up going with the demon kid for some fresh air. I don't know how much fresh air there is in hell, but okay. And I think I mentioned this to you before. It might have been at the end of the last podcast that we recorded for 423. Reading Shredder in Hell reminds me so much sort of Hot Damn. Hot Damn was a series done, 5-issue series done by Ryan Ferrier for IDW, I believe. And I'll have to see if I have the PDFs for that to send to you. But it was basically about this guy who died and went to hell kind of thing. It's not anything like Shredder in Hell, obviously, but, you know, it's more of like real world hell kind of like, you know, like if I die tomorrow, am I ascending or am I, you know, going to be, you know, down there in the center of whatever kind of thing. So that's what this reminds me of. And the demon kid's talking to the soldier like, yeah, I present to you your new home, the underworld. Crap. This is it. This is the end. Not the end, no. It's a beginning.
I just wonder if maybe that soldier's somebody who recently died, and that guy was.
I think that's what it is. I think, I don't know. Like there's no real explanation. Like the issue just starts with the demon kid and this soldier. Like the soldier looks like he's just about to get into hell because he's facing off against the kid. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I would assume it's just because it doesn't look like anybody from, who are Bishop's people?
EPF?
Yeah. It doesn't, you know, maybe it's one of those guys. I don't know, but I think it's just a random character that they have coming to hell. I love this shot. As much as I'm not a fan of the dragon in general for this, but I love that shot. We get to Kitsune, and she is continuingly painting her scrolls, and Father, do you hear me? Are you still with me? My spell is almost complete. Your new reign approaches. Now, again, this is another panel. I'll have to screen cap this and put it in the post so people can understand what I'm talking about. She has all these scrolls hung up around her, and she has Shredder's body, which is mummified. And she has his helmet. She does not have his skull because I believe Splinter and the Turtles still have his skull. However, she has the helmet basically at the foot of the table where, I don't want to say bed because that's not a bed. The foot of where the body is, and I'm like, that's a little creepy. That's a little creepy.
Huh. So she makes it very clear there that she's not bringing Oroku Saki back because she loves him. She's bringing her dad back.
Yeah.
And I think she's sad because she actually does like Oroku Saki, and she's going to try to kill him. Mm-hmm. Or she knows she has to kill him to bring back her dad.
Yeah, bring back the dragon. Because it's basically eat or be eaten here, folks. It's either the dragon wins or Saki wins. There is no two can exist in the same time. Yeah, I love that line. This whole exchange here with the dragon. Mm-hmm. I see inside your soul you are still searching for another solution, still hoping your destiny to be grandiose. Does anyone really hope that their destiny is going to be grandiose? Like, look, don't get me wrong. I want to be as positive as I can be when I say this. And there are a million things any of us could do to succeed in life. And there's a million different things any of us could do to leave a mark in life. But there are few and far between in humanity where their destiny is so grandiose that it could stop the end of the world. Man, I wish Alopex would shut up, stupid dog. I know she's a fox, but still. There are dogs barking outside, folks, in case you can't hear. I will turn the microphone that way to see if it... God, those dogs are loud.
There is a YouTuber we watch that is constantly yelling at the neighbors' dogs who do that. To find out their names and then just yell at the dogs whenever they start barking.
Hey, Alexa, stop those dogs from barking. God, that's distracting. And I have headphones on. Man, talk about failure of noise cancellation. And you had asked me this when we were going through issue 5 beforehand, when we see the dragon battle with Shredder, why you're not willing to awake and all of that, and we see this thing crash with all this blood, and it's not blood, it's her paint. It's
one of her jars of paint that she had. Which is neat, because the panel before that is Oroku Saki getting thrown against the ground by the dragon, but the impact we see is in the real world.
Right, with the paint.
Breaks.
And I don't... Yes, the symbology of it all. Outside of a few select members of the Pantheon family, they're another one of the things within the IDW universe that I'm just not like. I don't dislike them, but I'm not the hugest fan. Like when we did issues, I think it was issue 71 and 72 that dealt with them. And I just wasn't that big of a fan of it. And even though what is about to happen between Akka and Kitsune breaks my heart, I still don't give a shit about the Pantheon family.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, they are the part that I think I'm least attracted to from the IDW creation. They're kind of winning me over by saying these are the demigods that Brahma, or the head god in Shredder's dream back there, created so that they could experience creation. But it's like, okay, that's what they are then. I get it. But I've not yet figured out why the turtles' destinies are so intertwined with theirs and not other people's. Yeah, maybe we'll get an answer to that someday. But this was an interesting occurrence here.
Yeah, little sister, elder sister, basically a sibling battle. And it's so weird, and this is just so random, folks. Again, we're recording this way in advance of when it's going to be released in August 2021. However, I just recently watched an Instagram story from the 007 account where they're asking you to vote on specific scenes from Die Another Day, and I know everyone's like, why? So anyway, one of the scenes is John Cleese, as awesome as he is as R, my predecessor, and he's talking about Q, because anyone that knows, The World Is Not Enough in 1999 was Desmond Llewellyn's last Bond film as Q, because he died in 1999. So, we have in this scene in Die Another Day, Aston Martin calls it the Vanquish, we call it the Vanish. And the line here in the book and the tie back, it's just me just visioning, so Kitsune is going to have an Aston Martin as a car in the real world. But who will be victorious and who will be vanquished? It is time for you to choose.
And I think they are the images in Kitsune's expressions are implying that she's about to commit seppuku, kill herself. Because I think this spell is requiring the blood of an immortal to bring back the dragon spirit. And Akka says, I think you've decided who you're going to do. You've decided
Mm-hmm. Get back to the dragon and Saki. Your heart, your goals, what will you sacrifice? And that's obviously from the previous scene. It is too late to deny me, human. I am your destiny. The human is gone. Only the dream remains. You keep telling yourself that. Uh-huh. Right. And that's the thing. The whole thing with the dragon here. This dream of yours is meaningless without me. You are meaningless without me. That, to me, basically resonates as, because of the people that we surround ourselves in our lives, like, you and I are friends. We've been friends for a number of years now. We've only met in person once, but that was fine. It is what it is. I often say that my online friends, as long as I get to do Skype things or podcasts or through audio, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. But it's the people that we surround ourselves with that make our lives meaningful. And the dragon is saying here that Saki is meaningless without him, and I'm like, what meaning could you bring to Saki's life of any positivity or goodness?
Yeah, no positivity.
You are a destroyer. So to me, this reads like, okay, people, whomever is reading this comic, surround yourself with only the people that are, and everybody has differing opinions. I'm just going to say this right now. I don't know how you feel, but, for me, Rodimus Prime is the true leader of the Autobots. Optimus Prime can be shot by Megatron for all I care. Now, as a kid, I loved Optimus Prime. As an adult, I've seen him play basketball while the Decepticons destroyed Sherman Dam or something or other. But it's just one of those things where we have certain opinions, we have certain likes, we have certain dislikes. Like, I like, and I know it's very rare that I find people that actually like these two films besides me. I love Caddyshack 2 and Neverending Story 2. And people are like, you're stupid, you're crazy, those don't exist, blah, 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 whatever. And it is what it is. Am I going to not be that person's friend because they don't like films that no, that's just dumb. But I'm not going to sit here and shit all over something, So that's my point here, folks. This, what the dragon is saying here, that Saki is meaningless without him. I disagree with that, because Saki can be better, because Saki at this point does not want to be, at least I don't think he wants to be, the destroyer anymore.
Nope. And yeah, that was, I think, at this point, the dragon still thinks that Saki is tied to him, and he's just a container for the dragon. And the container doesn't mean anything. It's what's inside that counts, and he's inside this dragon. But as he drives Oroku Saki into the ground and thinks he's won and crushed this little soul, this little spirit, no, we find out that Saki has let that creator spirit into his soul after he made room for the dragon. And so now they're going to have this big god deathmatch fight.
Yeah. And again, as we've said all podcast, the colors and the designs are so good. This art is amazing. Oh,
okay,
hey,
that panel looks like a Power Rangers episode.
Let's get out of my head. I was like, okay, hey kids, look, it's Goldar versus his
Goldar versus the Ranger thing.
Yep. So funny. And then, he's like, then I shall awaken us both. And they clash, and we get the demon kid with the soldier. Good thing we're at a safe distance. Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. Because this is a treat you don't want to miss. I remember so we're going through this, folks. You amuse me, a man dreaming to be a god with no idea of what being a god truly means. I remember when we got to this last, panel here, it's pathetic. It's not the last panel, but before the big splash, and I hit the next button, and it opens up to this hole, and you're like, oh, wow. Because, yeah, that's something right there.
Yeah. And that's what you get from the guided view and from this comic viewer that I don't even ever get this, because when I look at this in the comic, I've got the spine of the book right in the middle of that, and I'm generally cradling my book in such a way that I'm not laying the spine flat, because I don't want to break my spine or bend it.
Yeah.
But here you go. You don't have to worry about that. You get this giant panel, and if you have a giant monitor, holy snot, is that going to look really good.
Yes, it is. I love Comixology.com. I love their guided view technology. I can never not read comics like this.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to destroy him. Can't you see what is happening here? Can't you realize you were never a mere human being? Kitsune's magic made you more than a mortal man, and my spirit shaped your soul into something more extraordinary than my sister could ever predict. That's just awesome. I love that Shredder design. Because it's a combination of his traditional IDW helmet, but with lots more purple in the eyes and in the center with gold all around it. That is so cool.
Mm-hmm. And these Hindu,
this
Hindu iconography of the third eye, and in the middle of the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And even Takeshi Tetsuo is referencing the Foot Clan stuff. This is like Dragon combined with Takeshi Tetsuo, and this is Shredder combined with the creator spirit.
Yep. And the creator spirit shows up. Man, that's a beautiful page.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a beautiful page. And again, it's all about, siblings and sibling rivalry. Like the dragon is her brother, she is his sister, and like you were saying earlier, good versus evil and all of that. And her, or their thing is, you blame me for things that are inherent and indispensable to life, sister. Yes, there is pain, there is suffering, but there is also joy and pleasure, victory and defeat, power and submission. There is hate, and there is love. Yes, or you think my prison has forgotten the promise. My prison has forgotten the promise he made. That should say prisoner.
You think I think he's just referring to Saki as the shell.
Okay, there you go.
He's just a prison that I lived inside.
Got it. This one is intriguing, Kitsune. So we cut back to Kitsune and Aka. Much as I said earlier about how I don't really care overall about the Pantheon, anytime a character dies in the IDW Turtles comic, it is an emotional thing, because you do and you don't expect it. Like you said earlier, her face kind of showed that she was maybe going to kill herself for the sacrifice. Oh, please. This is Kitsune. She'll murder anybody, just like, Kurai murdered or tried to murder Jenica.
Mm-hmm. So Kitsune has sacrificed the immortal Aka to provide the immortal god blood to bring the dragon back, to bring their father back.
Yep. And yeah.
Oh!
You get it?
Yep.
You get it now?
So, yep. Well, there's the timey-wimey stuff that's going on here.
But it isn't.
This is the when Splinter went away to hang out with the Shredder body.
Right.
He is going on a, what do you call it, spirit journey there. He's got Shredder's head in his lap.
Plane. Yep.
He's meditating on the Shredder. And this is the beginning of Splinter's story that happened in the previous issues. He's the rat meditating on it, going back to help Saki. Yep. And on the way out the door, Oroku Saki whispers in Splinter's ear here to say, "You saved me, brother. I need your help." So Splinter's seeing Saki at the end of the journey and knows that they succeed.
Yeah. Show me a way back to her. Now, for me, I didn't get it at first. I understood it. I knew once, but it took me a minute because it's so weird. So, where the girl goddess says, "Now go, you've made a promise, remember?" And Splinter shows up. First of all, yes, I am wide awake when I read through this. Yes, I'm wide awake as we're going through this. I'm not half asleep. I'm not misunderstanding things. It's just now dawning on me what this full image when Splinter first shows up. And I'm like, oh, right, that's his tail. And he is meditating because he's in the astral plane and he has Shredder's skull in his lap. That's why I was saying a second ago to you when I went down, do you get it? Do you get it? Because this is, like you just said, this is Splinter at the start of his journey to save Shredder.
Yep, and I couldn't remember when that happened in the ongoing, but I do remember him saying, I need you to watch this room. I'm going to go hang out with Shredder for a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's when he goes into the crypt and he picks up the I forget which. It was in the last podcast or the podcast before. It was in issue 96 or 9. It was in one of them issues. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but I can see the path, Kitsune. Reach out to me, almighty dragon god. Thus here I deliver you this indestructible physical body. I deliver you. You did well, child. I have returned. But I am not yet free. Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah, the corpse of the Shredder minus head gets up off the plinth and picks up the helmet and puts it on, but there is no head. He is just wreathed in flame. Such a cool image.
Such a cool image. I deliver you my Phoenix, to be continued in TMNT Volume 23, and we have some amazing covers for this. All the variant covers. We have one by Kevin Eastman. We have one by Rafael Albuquerque. We have one by Matteo Scalara. We have one by Juan Gideon. I'm probably mispronouncing that one. I'm sorry. Hey, a cover by Marcelo Costa. That's awesome. I love that. That's so cool. One by Sophie Campbell.
Wait, I did not know that was Sophie Campbell. Looking at that image, that was so crazy.
That's
like zombie turtles.
Zombie turtles. One by Clayton Crane. Love
Looks
that.
Like he's channeling the movie, the weird live action movie Turtles Shredder.
It does, but it also it's not the design of Super Shredder, but just the way that you're probably right. It's probably the Bayverse Turtles. So many good covers. So many amazing things. All of these artists are amazing. This one by Gabrielle Dell'Otto. I love that Shredder and Fire, because that looks to me like a combination of 87, 90, and 91. Like a combination of 87 cartoon, 90 film, and 91 film Shredder. And we have another one by Eastman. We have one by Eastman and Tommy Vergara. And Shredder in Hell. Abandon all hope as the most infamous villain in the Turtles universe returns. I loved this. I wasn't sure what to expect from it. I was a little creeped out at certain points, but overall, I freaking loved this.
If you'd have asked me what my score or level of appreciation was before going back to reread these books, I'd have said completely passable. You don't need to read this. I didn't know what was going on. I was confused. It just seemed kind of random and disconnected. But reading it a second time and then essentially a third time, No, it's incredible. It's so good. There's so much in here from all of Turtledom, and then that little kind of here's world religions thrown at us, just like it was in the Archie series. And here's how the Shredder can come back again. And it made me care about the Pantheon just a little bit more than I did before.
Yeah.
So no, this is great. This is a good book.
Yeah. So, like I said, folks, in the reading order for this, you have to read up to issue 99 to the end of 99. And at the end of 99, and I turned off the screen share so Joe doesn't see this, but essentially I'm going through what we're going to be talking about in issue in episode 425. I'm at the end of 99 where Karai is looking for Kitsune, and granddaughter, you are just arrived in time to witness the return of the dragon. And that's where 99 leaves off. And I love that they put Shredder in Hell right before this big 100th issue, obviously, because City at War and everything that's going on with that. And again, once we get into it next week, when we do City at War, when we do issue 100 in episode 425, it opens with Splinter as we know him, but he doesn't have the skull. But it's his astral plane looking, it's him with his colors and the red robe, but it's all the psychedelic astral plane colors behind him kind of thing as we open issue 100, which we will get to. Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect out of this, and as I've said in the past hour or so, it is so good. It is a story that never did I ever think we would see. But I am so glad that we did, and I'm so glad. Like, this story is a story that just feels like it is connected. It is what it needs to be. It is what it should be. Now, for rating for me, I'm probably going to give it either a 3.5 or a 4. Only because a couple of the times I was a little creeped out by some of the stuff in Hell. Like some of the monster stuff and things like that. It is not to say, 3.5, 4 on our scale from 0 to 5 is not a bad rating at all. So there's that.
My only criticism on this book could, I think, happen around issue 2, where it felt like one long chaotic fight scene. And I remember feeling that was what I thought the whole book was, all 5 issues, when I read it the first time back in the day. But reading it all at once helped, and reading it a second time helped me see the story way more clearly than I did the first time. And between actually understanding what's going on this time and seeing the nods to the Archie book, which may or may not have been deliberate, but I'm going to pretend that it was deliberate. And seeing how they are once again beginning to tie in that making heroes out of the villains, at least so far, kind of in this. I do have to give this book a 5. Usually the miniseries I don't think they typically earn 5s from me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so good. So before we get the heck out of here, folks, we have the IDW. I have the IDW 2021, August 2021 solicits. This lists TMNT number 120 and TMNT The Last Ronin number 4. For issue 120, Sophie Campbell is on writing. Jody Nishijima, I'm probably mispronouncing that, is on art and colors. A protest at the Mutanimals HQ turns violent and threatens to destabilize Mutant Town permanently. TMNT allies and enemies rush to take advantage of the situation, but not before Old Hob makes a surprise decision that will shake allegiances. Dun dun dun.
Oh.
32 pages, $3.99, coming out in August of 2021. TMNT, The Last Ronin, number 4 of 5. Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, Tom Waltz on writing. Kevin Eastman, Isu and Isaac Escorza, and Ben Bishop on art and colors. With a few key allies, the Ronin takes on the greatest risk yet to infiltrate Baxter Stockman's Tech Island. What happened many years ago to set the Ronin on this quest for vengeance? Find out in this action-packed penultimate issue. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. That has been a very interesting series because it doesn't exactly tie into IDW. It's more like this is what the Mirage series was supposed to or could have ended with, this kind of Elseworld sort of view, but boy, it's neat.
Yep. And we will cover it at some point because obviously IDW is doing it. Yes, it doesn't exist in the main IDW universe, but I mean, we've covered other things. Like we used to cover the New Adventures books that IDW did, and that wasn't anywhere near their main universe. So, you know, we will cover the last TMNT, The Last Ronin at some point once it is traded. I don't know when the 5 issues will be collected and traded, because that book, I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or if it's, I don't know what it is, but issue 3 was a super delayed thing. So here's hoping issue 4 does actually show up in August.
There was drama behind the scenes, but they have it cleared up now. They just kind of catching up, finishing up, and they'll get it out.
There you go.
It's late, so that's how you know it was actually a Mirage book. That's a good joke for the old school fans.
Yes.
If it's not late, it's not Mirage.
That's right. All right, coming up here inside the pull bag, we are capping off Turtles month here with 425 with TMNT 100, and then, folks, it's not sad, but like I have to plan a whole other month for like Mutagen March or something next year in 2022 for more TMNT stuff, because like I said in some of the other podcasts that we've done for TMNT, this was supposed to be done at the beginning of this year, but because of life events and things like that, it didn't get done until the middle of summer. But yeah. We will be continuing on in the IDW universe, as always, at some point with Turtles. Coming up after next week's issue 100 review in episode 425, we have got Transformers Beast Wars number 7. In September, I think we're going to be doing the rest of Scooby-Doo Team Up, so there's going to be those. And then Beast Wars number 8. Radiant Black 7 and 8, and then I don't know if I'm doing this again or not, but episode 430 will be The Way of the Comic Book 2. So I did this thing a couple years ago called The Way of the Comic Book, and I basically had a writer, artist person, Pat Shand, who does at the time he was doing the Xenoscope Robin Hood series and other things. He's done a bunch of other stuff, and we had talked about comics and art and writing and just how comics are done and made, and just had an overall discussion of comics and fandom and things like that. And I called it The Way of the Comic Book because it's one of those things where I don't think there's any incorrect way to get into reading comics. Everyone has their own path. People can go back to episode 411 of the Pull Bag to hear mine and Comic Concierge Dan Clark's discussion on how we gave a top 10 of tips so basically it was top 5, but obviously we each have 5 different things. Basically our tips on how people can get into comics. So I'll link that in this post so people can go back and listen to that. But the way of the comic book is like, I wanted to get a comic creator, someone who has been doing it for a long time, someone who I had interviewed before and talked about. So I'm going to do that again. I don't know if it'll be with Pat or if I will get multiple creators. It just depends on scheduling and things like that. So yeah, That's going to do it for now. Make your great escape into comics. We will catch you next time with City at War, the finale in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, issue 100 from IDW Publishing.
Woo! You turtles, I'll kill you. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, heroes in a half shell, turtle power.
Well, it's true, because, I did Fresh Prince for a long time, and whenever I'd go somewhere, somebody had done research and they found out that I was the voice of Shredder on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and if there were kids in the audience, I'd throw that voice on.
I'll take care of them once and for all.
They just, oh, yeah! Oh, of course, these kids are like 19, 20 now, so. Shredder was basically your straight-ahead villain, but within that, there were levels that were found with the interaction between Krang and myself, and there were levels that I found as an actor to play him, so he wasn't just always, you turtles, I'll kill you, that kind of thing, so there was a lot of stuff happening. Like most actors, I became acquainted with the Turtles through an audition process. I had just done a series called Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestlers. I just gotten a voice agent, as a matter of fact, because I'd done a live action series for Hanna-Barbera called Going Bananas. And one of the people on that show suggested that I get a voice agent. And I said, sure, can I make money? Fine. I need the job. When you audition for a voice, they show you what the character looks like, and you have to try to put that voice to it, which is a part of the skill. I don't consider myself a voice actor. There are much more talented people than myself. I consider myself very lucky to have fallen into the situation. Part of the sessions for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was just sitting and listening to the repartee between the actors. It was such a joy, and everybody was so smart and witty and...
It seems like all we ever do anymore is rent movies.
Of course, Leonardo. With Shredder trapped in Dimension X, we've got a lot of spare leisure time.
The voices that they would come up with and the things that they would do, I'd sit there half the time going, oh, my turn.
Oh, I feel so hard-boiled in these trench coats.
I know I'm going to sound like a Pollyanna or whatever, but I can't explain to you what fun it was. It was like the old days. It was like, old radio theater. It was just a joy.
Well, I've retired. I've been living in Palm Springs. Krang and I are divorced now. I haven't seen him in a long time, and I kind of miss him, but not really. He was such a nag. I hope he has a good life, but I doubt it. Yes, I lie in the sun, I count my money, and I play with the lizards in the desert. Thank you.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's first comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate and leave a review for the show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Become a fan of us on Facebook, facebook.com/thepullbag. Send us an email, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at thepullbag and at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.
Don't believe it! My mighty foot soldiers beaten by a bunch of turtles! And mutant turtles at that!
Saki! This is Krang. Report to me at once.
Great! Terrific! We're on the run, and that idiot wants to chit-chat!